for approval and execution, an agreement of sale between the county and St. Luke's Hospital of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, for the purchase of property at 525 Iron Street, Lehighton, Pennsylvania. Property record card number 70A9-28-F25 at the price of $510,000. Agreement includes lease of office space back to St. Luke's for a term of 1 year plus a 1-year renewal. Rental fee for the first year is $1,666.67 per month, plus pro rata share of operating costs. Rental payment for 1-year renewal is $1,716.67 per month, plus pro rata share of operating costs.
Move to approve and execute.
Second.
Discussion. It appears to me we're a little bit out of order. And I understand we have two subsequent motions that are going to go ahead and do the environmental and then also kind of a feasibility of how we can maximize and ensure that space meets our need. I'll harken back to when we did a 410 Center Avenue. And other than a letter of intent to purchase, we signed no other agreement until we had the feasibility study, which was in place. Because based upon previously provided information from both the entity that did our appraisal for this particular property and previous work by Boyle Construction, the minimum amount of space needed to accommodate children and youth services, and again, this is according to Boyle, 10,339 square feet. The optimal in another one, they had 14,270 square foot as listed. As I look at the appraisal and both the need for St. Luke's to retain for up to 2 years of property, I notice there's only 7,641 square feet available for ostensibly the first 2 years of it. And as I worked out my chart, I start seeing real quick, we go from green, yellow, red as we increase the number of individuals who will be in that physical space. Again, this is based on minimal. Then I take my chart, which is the optimal amount. You can see the increased amount of red, and that corresponds to the number of individuals who, according to Boyle, would not be able to be housed or work from that facility. Now, it is not my intent to say this building won't work. It might work, but what I want to say is I would prefer we table signing the contract until such time as Boyle comes back and says the 48 individuals that are planned for this building, currently there are 37 billets. Not all of them are occupied at this time, but there are 37 billets authorized, plus an additional 11, which were the annual salary board. So once we ensure that the 48 individuals can indeed fit into the space, I would recommend that my colleagues and I hold off on an actual contract. Now, do we want to entertain a letter of intent for next week? That's fine, but let's play out the assessment to ensure we have a space that is going to accommodate our need. And I'm hopeful it will. Might be some creative work, but we also have to be considerate about, we don't want to move in and then no longer have a possibility for any further expansion should the need arise 2-4 years down the line. That's all I have on discussion.
And I sort of have a little bit of a different version of this. I mean, I've been looking at this for probably almost a year already. And what I've gone through, and I mean, I'm looking at this building and I'm just going off of the letter that the Children and Youth Director gave us. And I look in here, there's things that are needed and are not needed. I mean, there's actually like a courtroom in here. Our courtroom is in Jim Thorpe. It's not in Lehighton. First of all, this is not a permitted use in Lehighton. And I don't know why there's a courtroom in this. for how many square feet. So what I did, and on this end of the building, if you can look, this end in here is this what I have right here. There's gonna be 17 cubicles. And I have it in here, there's one room that can be made into 2 offices. So this part of that building can house 22 people. We only have currently 26 right now that are working. This is gonna take a long time. And according to this letter again, it's at 42 will be our maximum with everybody that's hired. The remaining part of the building that wound care has, we would be able to add an additional 12 spaces in that area. But currently, they're at 4,800 square feet where they're at now. This is a permitted use, and I've been working on that. And if I go to the borough, they told me if I walk in with the permit, they will give the use. It's a permitted use in that area to have, what the heck is it under? Family social services, which is a permitted use in that area. But when you look at the entire building, you can look at 76. This building here is laid out a little bit, like I said, you can have 22 people in that area right now. That could be today. It's cleaned out, everything's ready. When you look at the entire building itself, it has the potential of 11,545 square feet. And that includes that extra area in the front that comprises of 1,904 feet. And I don't know where, and I tell you what, I've been in construction for 35 years and I've been laying buildings out, and I would contest what area they need. If you go down to children and youth, there's offices that aren't big enough to put 2 in. That's a lot of the problems where they don't use square feet up. But like I said, in this part of the building, that's probably not even a third of the building, we can get 22 people. So I'm ready to move forward with this. I think it's time that we put this to rest and get children to use what they want. And a lot of times, I don't see where this 14,000 square feet is. This here has, and I didn't want to say nothing about it because now it's out of there. In the basement is 5,000 square feet. And that's where St. Luke's had kept all their files. So that's a dry spot that's usable space. And I even talked, like, even for our county here, it could be a good use for our county, because when we buy paper, we could buy more. Whatever we have to buy, there's 5,000 square feet of dry space down there that we could keep things to give us a little bit more buying power when we buy more at a time. But I don't know why. And I said, I've been working on this. And I was even the one that I thought in the first place we should get this study done, but there is no other place in Carbon County to go. If somebody would have found us a place that has 10,000 square feet and it wouldn't have cost us $10 million to do it, I would have been on board for it. But this is a place we can get the children and youth out of the town here and get them at a secure place. Right now, they're in the adult probation, juvenile probation, and domestics. They got to get out of that building. And when they're out of that building, that frees up a little bit more for us here in the county. We want to renovate on the building over here, probably in about 6 months from now, 6 to 8 months. Where are we going to place the people? Are we going to keep renting places and costing us? We have space that we could use during the renovation. And that's all my comment is. And I think everybody knows where I'm going on voting with this. But I think it's time to stop this and start moving forward with the children and youth program.
I guess, it might be best then, since we're discussing a letter from the Director of Children and Youth Services, in full transparency, the public and press should see the entirety of the communication, because, I'm going to quote it. First, I believe we agree that our current setup and space is inadequate for the best operation of the agency, no question. Second, that was, I added, no question. Second, I want to acknowledge that the ability to remain in one collective space is best to serve the families of Carbon County. Third, the closer that the office is to the space where court is held, the easier it is for staff and families to collectively gather. And of course, fourth, the security and safety of my staff is the utmost important. The director also raises some concerns with that particular location. However, let's do the study first. It's the next motion that is proposed. Let's ensure we're going to fit effectively, efficiently to accommodate children in youth services. I don't think 4, 5, 6 weeks are going to really make that significant of a difference. We already disperse children in youth services. We provided them space in 44 Susquehanna Street, so they do have more room to meet the current level of billets that are filled. And again, we can't simply concentrate on the number of employees we have hired. It's about the number of billets, right? Because we have to get that ratio of caseworkers to cases down. So again, we're striving for 48 individuals. We have to have physical space for those 48 individuals to work. Even if you implement a policy of telework, telecommute, work from home. So that's all I have.
And I think going back to that one thing again, I think children and youth, they have a set date, if I'm correct on this, Greg, that they have 1 day a week that they do court for children and youth. And the way that it was explained to me, sometimes it's only 2 or 3 times out of the month that this gets done. So we're going to try and not buy a building that would accommodate them for just 1 or 2 or 3 days out of the month that they got to come to court. You know, and this contract that's in here, it's in there. I think we have 60 days that we have to get this study done. And if something is wrong there, that it's really bad, we do not have to purchase that building. I mean, that's our agreement with them that we're going to have, but we have to have this done within 60 days. I don't know what Mr. Lukasevich is trying to do here, but if we go in 5 weeks, this will be 3 months till this building is purchased. And I said, I'm just tired of it. Like, let's get this moving. And if you want to make the motion to do it before, then do the sale afterwards. I don't care. But both of these motions to me are going to pass today. And if they don't, then we're not looking out for the children and youth of Carbon County. Plain and simple.
Well, before we move on, I have to agree in most parts with Mr. Honor. I understand Mr. Lukasevich's concern, but I also look at the other issues we have. We've been looking for appropriate space for how long. We got a backlog. We have other offices in that courthouse that would be able to move perhaps into the current location for children and youth. I feel we need to move forward with ownership of the building unless we come up with something better in the meantime. And I've said it before, been involved in this and how many years, every time we try to do something, we get shot down. And I myself, and I feel this building will suit our needs. Maybe not for more than 10 years, but it will certainly suit our needs for the next 5 to 10 years, I do believe. And I think we can make this work and make use of that basement space as well. I understand the concerns for security, but no matter where we go, we don't have the room in the current buildings. We'll have to provide those services no matter what or where we go. So I'm ready to move forward. We have too many offices in the courthouse that are overcrowded now and need space. And I feel that now's the time to move. We can't even hire enough people to fill the vacancies we have now. And last I knew, we were down 5 people, and it could have gotten worse. And I'm not sure anymore. But and some of these recommendations that were in the letter, I have to disagree with, because I think that a lot of that hinges on other outside sources or people. Well, you should have this and you should have that. Well, nice if you're not paying for it, but when we're paying for it, we have to make it work. We only got so much revenue and funds. So I think it's time to move on. Let's call for a vote.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
No.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
The next item is the feasibility study for 525 Iron Street, New Hayden. for approval and execution, an agreement with Boyle Construction Management of Allentown, Pennsylvania, to provide professional construction management services for a feasibility study to include architectural and environmental testing relative to the property located at 525 Iron Street, Lehighton, Pennsylvania. Boyle Construction, time and material cost. MKSD Architects, $7,500. ACM Associates, $530. And this is for samples for lead and mold and a report. The final amount will be based on the number of samples needed. And the SWAT Environmental, $1,125 for radon testing.
Move to approve and execute.
Second,
Mr. Honor?
yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mark Chunk